This is an important initiative, an important project. The World Bank played some role, a small role. The driver of this is the financial sector regulators in Lebanon. Great initiative to, in addition to banking, now also develop capital markets. So my presentation is just a few slides. I'm going to give you a little bit of a context. I'm sorry, I will have to turn my back against you a little bit. So the context is that we have a very reputable banking industry in Lebanon, enhanced by the effective oversight of the central bank and the Banking Control Commission. You could say its resilience through turbulence for that industry, I would even say through very rough turbulence. I could say the same about the insurance industry here. Great regulator, industry develops. You know, you need to work together between the market and the regulator for things to happen. This is what we hope is happening as well for capital markets. So here we have a situation until now where the securities business is regulated by the central bank and supervised by the Banking Commission. Anywhere in the world to develop the securities business, you need a dedicated regulator that has different objectives, namely, among them, protecting the investor, and has a specialist expertise. It's not banking, it's securities markets. This is what, thank you very much. This is what Law 161 is all about. The purpose of the law, the idea, the vision, is to balance regulation with development, and this is exactly what you have on the screen over there. It's developing the market and protecting the investor. Okay. What does that mean? Ensure fair, efficient, and transparent markets that protect investors and reduce systemic risk. Systemic risk is what the governor talked about, the idea of bringing together all the regulators at some point to look at the system as a whole. And promote markets, that's the market development part, that serve the economy's needs. Okay? Same in banking. Banking is not to serve the needs of banks only, it's to serve the economy's needs. Same for capital markets. So the vision here is to build a platform of excellence in finance beyond banking and leveraging, of course, the reputation that has been achieved in banking. Role of the World Bank Group, we have a global practice called the Finance and Markets with long experience with emerging economies in policy and technical work. We have an awareness of the risks and the challenges in young markets. Of course, we bring a strong public good perspective to market regulation and development, and we have also access to grants from various donors to finance this capital market work. The chairman of the CMA approached us in 2012 to kickstart that work. We did a diagnostic in 2013. A lot of people here in the room are familiar faces. I don't know always your names, but you will remember that we started to see each other in May 2013. We completed the diagnostic. It's published. What did the diagnostic find? It's a strong law, 161, but of course implementation challenges. That's what we're doing now. Recommendations were review the framework and remedy gaps, develop the staff, have various plans for licensing, inspection, and product approval, develop enforcement capability, and develop MOUs with the other regulators. So we designed, together with the CMA, an advisory program, and the donors approved a grant under what's called the FIRST initiative. It's a grant from, in this case, Luxembourg, Germany, Switzerland. The purpose of the work, the purpose of the grant finances work to prepare regulations jointly with the CMA staff. They assist in obtaining board approval of the CMA for the drafts and in consulting with the industry. That's why we're here today. develop staff manuals, conduct training, and eventually design a master plan for capital market development. So we conduct this work in a joint working group between the CMA and the World Bank. We meet, let's say, every 4 months, 6 months, meaning here in Lebanon, but we have constant contact by phone. So in December 2013, we had the first technical mission with John Carson, who is our lead advisor on this project. And we're here today to launch the consultations with the industry and begin the formal transition to the new regime. What does the transition mean? No interruption of activities already conducted by institutions that are licensed. These institutions, for the license that they have, they're subject to CMA inspections when it concerns advising, arranging, managing, dealing, or custody. This is what the CMA covers. Compliance with the regulations over time under CMA-approved plans, subject to CMA enforcement as laid out in Law 161. In designing, implementing, and enforcing regulations, we are guided by best practice, meaning mainly observance of IOSCO objectives and principles, with the goal of becoming an IOSCO member eventually. Very important that we have a formal process of consultation with the industry. We do not develop markets regulator by itself. It has to be joint work, main dans la main, as we say in French. Of course, no framework is perfect. This is human. These are human institutions. So therefore, we have periodic formal reviews that reflect experience with existing regulations. We learn from what works and what doesn't work. Global regulatory developments. Maybe 10 years ago, this was not terribly important, but today it is. And of course, the growth of the market and the innovations that we see in the market. The regulatory work program is something that John will touch upon quite a bit in the technical presentations. We have the following work program in terms of big picture regulations. The licensing of institutions and the registration of professionals. You have that with you. Business conduct has been circulated as well, and market conduct. We're working on the collective investment scheme, so the investment funds regulation. We're working on offering and disclosure of securities. And the next step will be, we're thinking about the prudential regulations, and then of course specific regulations for exchanges and institutions like mid-clear. And in all of this, in parallel to this, we build the capacity of the CMA to implement through manuals, training. Market development. I don't want to leave you with the impression that this is about control. Okay? We need to have, both of us, meaning the CMA and you, a tool that works, a tool that regulates rules of the game. But at the same time, we are thinking about developing the market. So, after these regulations are in place, there will be consultations again with you to design this master plan. Now, we have some ideas on how to do this. Others will come up. But the World Bank Group has several sort of angles, several groups that can help develop markets by linking the regulatory work to specific transactions. Here we work with issuers, intermediaries, investors, and the official sector. So the finance and markets practice that I represent can work on things like public-private partnership framework. New products. You want to have a REITs, real estate investment trust framework. You want to have a covered bond framework. You want to have a secured transactions framework. That's where we come in. Innovation financing, corporate governance, auditing standards. This is where my group comes in. We also have in the World Bank Group the International Finance Corporation. They assist private sector issuers or PPP entities. They can invest as well in market infrastructures. The IFC Treasury can provide credit enhancement for private securities. Our MIGA entity, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Association, can provide credit enhancement to public sector issuers. If Électricité du Liban wants to issue something and needs a credit enhancement to make it more attractive to international investors, that's what MIGA would come in. And we have the World Bank Treasury that invests in public sector securities. So, for example, if with the MIGA enhancement, Électricité du Liban would be eligible in principle, subject to due diligence, of course, to investment by the World Bank Treasury. And it advises also on public debt strategy. The implementation of something like this, when we get there, is going to be the topic or the subject for a successor program under the first initiative. We have other engagements in Lebanon. Currently working on an observatory for small and medium-sized enterprises, the financing of startups, payment system strategy, and we're just getting into pension reform. I think that's where I am. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was not on purpose.